frame, and then was to have an enamel that went inside it. A friend of mine does insect content, so I did a video for her. The background is black enamel, but there's gold foil outline above, the body is above, and then green enamel, pressed on green enamel over it, and then the legs are done with a jelly roll marker, which will survive a fairly quick firing. And as you'll notice over the lower right side, enamel will come up very tightly and they reflect one. And I'm always not trying to mask the lights on the way to that picture. So that was where I was doing a lot of holidays.
Who's next, Rob, on our pick photos? Rob is next. All right. And a lot easier for me to do this way than to mark it down from the booth. But this is a lidded box that I made out of a piece of spalted black walnut. And I have to go to a video every time the few times I've tried to make a lidded box because I can't remember what order to make. But once I reminded myself that you start with the inside, I then turned it down and this is about 7 inches tall, and I lost most of the spalting, which was only in the sapwood when I turned it down. So there's a little bit of spalting left on this side, and other than that, it was fun making a friction fit lid on a lidded box. How tall is it? It's 7 inches. It's pretty tall. Only threw it twice.
All right, thanks for sharing. Who's next? This is one of the pieces of Don Frink's cutoff that he brought in. There was a nice piece of walnut that I saw. I did have to deal with a couple of cracks that were going through it, but I tried to hide them pretty well. The texture that I used was just a simple Dremel tool. I did the circular lines on the lathe, obviously, and this is showing some detail. So after I did it's one a boring type bit, a big bit, and then coming in with a small bit, and just making a bunch of dimples, and then I put some black dye over that part of it on the texture part, and then sanded it off so that I kind of, if you can see, I kind of got the chatoyance of the wood going through also through that dye area. That was the reason I used the dye instead of acrylic paint. But had fun with just that texture pattern. I really liked it. So that was a gift to my brother.
That is it for
All of our photos that were submitted. So now you've got an item on the table. Be sure to grab a ticket and drop one in the bucket, and we'll show us what you got.
microphone.
This is the pretty piece of wood we had a peppermint that turn. Yeah, it's African olive wood. The top is African black wood. The bottom is African olive wood as well. Yeah, like I said, it's just a growth that can probably maybe 20 peppermint olive wood. And I've never had one that looks like this. I've had a couple of people ask how I finish it. It's a few very, very good. That's what it is. So. I'm Terry Johnson, and I'm Terry Johnson, and I have, after Christmas was over, I was trying to make a lot of inside-outside ornaments for Christmas presents, and I didn't get a lot of things finished. So I would, well, first, after Christmas was over and I had enough inside outside ornaments to give to all my relatives, I decided to experiment, and I've played with the sides of the inside outside ornaments and the interior of them. And I don't recommend putting little bubbles on the inside, because as you're turning, it gets full of dust and you have to try to figure out how to clean it out. And I have learned a lot about these, about wood, about how to fit it, using all the tools in the wood shop here to make the wood preparation to make the inside outside ornament. If anyone's not tried one, there's a lot of learning. I did not do that before. And this, before, I don't know when it was with the challenge to do something where we saw it or learned about it, and Mike Thomas had brought in a piece that had the glass on the top, and I really admired that. I really wanted to do it. I took some wood and I was turning the back room and brought it in unfinished for ShowNTell, because I didn't cut it right, and the wood was hot. When it got done, the glass wouldn't fit in because the glass didn't shrink, the wood did, and there were so many cracks in it. So I decided that even if this thing was going to fall apart, I was going to try to fix the cracks with PA glue and bring it in here in turn. I thought, I'm going to turn the whole thing over, going to throw this away. I was so overjoyed with how the glass fit in there, because it's thin, there's not glue in it. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if the wood's going to shrink and cut it, but there's no glue in there. And there's, I'm not going to tell you everything I did wrong. I started to, but I had a lot of fun creating this and learned a great deal with this. And the projects you guys bring in are awesome. And I'm working really hard to get there. But at my stage, I'm very proud of this.
This is a Christmas ornament that I made in December. Everything you see here was turned on the lathe except for the 4 faces, which I did on the table saw. Originally it was going to be round, but I soon found out that I didn't have enough wood to make it round and still not go through the holes. So made it square. I like it square. So the top is rounded, the bottom is rounded. Top finial and the bottom finial are birch, and the body itself is cherry. And the snowflakes I bought at the hobby store really cheap. So I turned the top, I drilled the holes on the lathe, and I drilled there are counterbores in here for the snowflakes, which are good in there. And I thought it turned out pretty good. Thank you. Yes, I did the base on it too. That's a funnel, and it is. Then you cut it at I think it was 10 or 15 degree angle with a counterweight in the bottom. I made one just last month, and I used a 1/2 ounce fishing sinker for it. This is the piece of a bolt that I cut off, but that kind of helps. This is 12 gauge copper wire from Home Depot. I think 14 gauge probably work just fine. And the last one that I made, I used a piece of aluminum weld wire.
Not yet, I didn't take it. I make pens every year for my kids' teachers. And it's gonna be a hit. They tend to like them, or at least they tell me they like them. But so I usually make a couple dozen pens every year for various things. I'll see if I can come up to the camera on this one here.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Until tonight, I was pretty sure this was walnut. I gotta go look at the piece at the board now because Mike was just saying, oh, this looks like maple. But I swear it came out of a walnut tree because all the rest of the wood came out of a walnut tree. I'm gonna go look at it again, but it's just got this great color to it and everything. And I like to make really simple pens. But I do spend a lot of time on my pens. I usually spend about 45 minutes to an hour on a pen. I'll do them in batches of like 10 or 20 or 30. An art teacher once told me you need to spend 9 hours on every art project for my class. I like that idea of spending the right amount of time on a project, even something as simple as a pen, going through the steps, and I've got this whole process that I do, and it's like 2 pages long, I'm trying to write it out. But I just have a really specific process that I like to do, and I like to make a pen, even though they don't look super flashy or anything. People use them and they like them, so here's my pen. Oh, this one has to go to somebody, but it has to go all the way to Alaska. So I haven't shipped it out yet, so.
Anybody else on the challenge table? I think that looks like it. Okay, we are drawing for your choice of a craft supply, $10 craft supply gift certificate, or this digital multimeter that we have been trying to give away for over a year now. But find somebody to draw. Curtis, can you draw the number there?
Oh 05, 08, 528.
528. All right. Here's one. That multimeter, right? Well, we're gonna have that multimeter next month. That's good news. All right. Well, we'll move on. I don't think we've got too many things, but let's go on over into the challenge or ShowNTell table. But before we get to that, a couple of things. If you paid your 2025 dues, you should have a member card in the little tin can up here on the counter. So grab it. That's the thing that you'll give to some of the vendors that give us a little discount and stuff. So make sure you have it. And the other thing was Bill Paul wanted to let you know that next month he's planning on doing his demo on wood stabilization. So all going well, we're gonna have Bill here telling us all about that. So I guess the last thing I wanted to do before we get to the ShowNTell table is Curtis. We've got to have a challenge for next month that ties to your demonstration. So what do you think we can do? Take pictures out.
Yeah, take a picture of a piece of your work.
We can submit pictures to Sue before next meeting. So make a nice picture, take your best picture that you can present, and bring it in for the challenge table next month, or send it in for the challenge. If you can't send it in, if you can bring a photo, that'd be great too. So that will be our challenge for next month. And let's go on into our ShowNTell table, and I'm going to pick that up. I want to show you. There's a couple of things. This is my little boy. I drew these a few years ago. It's basically a top game that I think I saw something like it. They didn't have the outside border, so I built up an outside border so that the beads. So I basically got a little concave bowl on a 3/4 inch piece of wood, drilled 12 holes around it. Nothing super precise. I did have a circle that I knew where the center line of my circle should go up. Just mark the 12th spot. Then turn the top. This particular top works really well. And it's made out of, it's got solid surface material as the body of the top, so it's got a little bit more weight. But we got an overhead, think the overhead rub. So the whole idea is you get the top spinning and it hits the beads. The beads are simply, they're the air rifle beads. And so you can get them in thousands. So if anybody ever needed any beads, talk to me. I found that what shoots the beads out is the wedging that happens. So the shape of the bottom of the top makes a difference. The distance that they have to travel makes a difference. So if you made a smaller one, you probably have to adjust some things because it can hit the sides real hard. But I built up the outside edge so that I could get an inside curve on the inside so that if the bead hits it, it wants to kind of just move back down and drop it back down into the bowl instead of shooting it out to the world. But I set this thing around and I mean, every time I walk by it, I spin it. So it's kind of one of those things that I just kind of had around and just enjoyed making. I've made them before. Is this something that you guys would be interested in a demo on? It's not a hard project, so I'll work that in this year because I don't know that I go through all the steps, but it's real self-explanatory and I could kind of walk you through the main part of it. The other thing I brought is I just want to show you this is something my wife got. She does jewelry work, so she's taking photographs and everything. It's a whole kit. It all folds up like this. We got 2 lights stuff down in here, and they got a little tripod stand. I think one of them burned out now, and I use about the light I can. And then this all just folds out into a square and has a backdrop, same as these. It doesn't have a graduating backdrop. It's got a blue and a gray felt. I think she paid like $30 or $40 probably 10 years ago, so I don't know what they'd be now. But it comes in handy. I can't get too big of a project in it because I'll catch the sides in the photo. It's real hard to just get the background in it. But for smaller projects and just to have a nice clean shot and to give you that filter type thing, this looks great. And I'll just lay lights on filters and tell it. Kevin said, or courtesy, you get it to where you're not glaring, you're not shining. That's it. Thank you.
This is a bowl I made out of a piece of pepperwood that I got in California. When I brought it back, I turned it around, left it overnight, and it started drying out and cracking like you see. And so what I did is I went ahead and roughed out the inside. I had a tenon on the bottom, and as this bowl dried, the tenon sucked in and went sideways. So I had to put it in the jam chuck and cut a new tenon for it so that I could turn it. I left the walls thicker on purpose because of the way it was cracking. And I could have gone in and cleaned out some of the tear from the cracks in it, but I left them because I think it gives it a little more character. It was definitely, I didn't know what was going to fly apart or not, so, but it was fun.
This is a story of the evolution of a piece. The AAW in the magazine had a call for entries for POP exhibit for the next symposium, and the idea was it was supposed to be a box that needed to be no bigger than 6 inches by 6 inches by 6 inches, and they simply said the format was open and closed, was all they said about it. So it's pretty much open door to make any kind of box that you wanted. And I thought about all the 4 million kinds of boxes that I've seen Anthony make over the years, and all the other ones that I've seen. And I just couldn't focus on any kind of idea that I wanted to do for a box. And I'd seen a picture on Pinterest or something about, and it was just simply an old water bucket and an old rusty faucet, and it was dripping water into the bucket just enough that the water was flowing over the edge. And the reflection of the photograph and everything was perfect on it. And so I got an idea to do a turning along that line. And so first generation was this mess. And I spent more time than I should doing this. And then I got done with it and I thought, what in the hell is that? You know, it made no sense to me whatsoever. And it was smaller than 6 inches, but it was pretty worthless. And so it sat on the table for 2 or 3 weeks. And then I looked at the deadline again, and the deadline's the 15th of the month, and she had to have photos in. And this was like Tuesday, you know, last Tuesday. And so I thought, I need to get something done. So I was trying to think, what could I do with that same kind of idea? And I came up with the idea of pouring wine into a glass. And so I got a red wine base to get an idea of the size of it, and came up with this idea. This is turned on 2 different axes, you know, to be able to turn and hollow that and to do the stem on it. And I got to this point, and another guy that I know from Tennessee who was going to enter the same thing, I sent a picture of it to him, and he goes, how big is that? And I said, well, I don't know, like 10, 11 inches. He goes, hey, dummy, it's got to be 6 inches or less. Oh, crap, this is like Wednesday. And so that went on the crapper. And so this is what I came up with, and it is barely under 6 inches. And so simply just a small goblet is a lidded box with a rhine stem on it. So anyway, there was a lot of work to get to that, and I may or may not submit it, but I have it done, at least for almost done.
This is what I made to give away to all my family, this size. So they're just little pieces of wood inside outside ornaments. I did the finial on it. I was happy with it. I finished it. They were happy with the gift, but it kind of put a bug in my ear is what I was going to do. So I decided to see if I can make them bigger. So I made them bigger, and I thought I got to try the inside, make a different size on the inside. And I had this plan, and I was cutting away, and I was really proud of the inside, and I was going to do exactly what I wanted. And I turned the inside outside, the outside inside, whatever it is, the opposite way, and turned it, and it did not work out anything like I thought it was going to. But it's the biggest one I made, and I had fun with it, and it's caused me to even think further. So I have more ideas of what I'm going to do. Everything you do, you build on the next. Well, that's because it was in my brain. That was an accident. But thank you. Well, actually, Anthony said, hey, that's cool. So I thought that was a pretty big praise. And all the corners match. And now, he showed his, I'm going to show you. I took a block of 3x3 walnuts, I think it's walnut, whatever, oak, and double drilled it. And my significant other does the CNC and the laser. So he made some snowflakes. So I put it in there. And I was going to turn this 100% round, but then I looked at it and I really didn't want it round. I like the edges being kind of round. So this is, you learn this before you learn how to do that. It was a lot of fun, and people have asked me about it, and it took a lot of prep work. the turning wasn't that much. Yeah, oh, I thought about that. I just drilled a hole all the way through here and make it a candle holder or make a lid for it, a potpourri holder. I thought that would be cool. Little in a box that wasn't a lot of turning, but it was a lot of time. Thank you.
All right, this is my birdhouse I made over winter break. It's a hedge fence post for the base down here, and then a cedar is the top, left natural edge on both of them. Found this hedge post in my wife's hometown. The barbed wire that's hanging from was actually still attached to the fence post when I grabbed it, so I thought, hey, that's what I got to use to hang it with. And there's just a little stem still left on there that I used for the little perch for the bird to find his way in there. I don't think I'll actually put it outside, but it's my wife put it on a mantle for now. So thank you.
Everybody has a ticket for the drawing. Okay. This is kind of following along with follow along with Phil's thank you minute, but I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention that over there on the wall where it says first aid kit, and then back in our shop is the first aid kit, we're going to find a couple of these in there. Now, can we get a close up of this label at all? This is Dermabond. It is a product made by Ethicon. I've got a source. Basically, this is okay. The Kane Med Center. Most all the hospitals and everything, when they do procedures and everything, they pull out the big kit. It's got whatever procedure they're doing, and there's all kinds of stuff in there that they would ever need. There's a lot of stuff in there that they don't use, and that's to be thrown away. And so this has never been used. This, Ethicon Dermabond. This is CA glue or cyanoacrylate glue, which is great for clothing, skin closing. And if you cut yourself, and like I've done here anyway, for whatever, go and use this and prevent yourself from having to go to the ER and get stitches and everything. Okay. Now, what I want to let you know is the way you use this, as it shows on the cover here. You take it out of the package and you pinch this little capsule inside, which releases where the CA glue is. Take the cover off, and there's a little cotton swab essentially on the end. What you do, you gotta bring the edges of the skin together like this, not like this or like this, because otherwise it puckers. If it's not straight, it'll pucker, and you'll always have that pucker there. So anyway, you close that. Then you take it, you put it right over the top. Not down in, right over the top. Now, if you do that, it's going to sting and burn for a few minutes, or pretty quickly, because the CA glue is it cures. This exothermic reaction is going to release heat. But anyway, you won't have to go to get stitches and bleeding all over the place, making a mess, and you'll feel a lot better afterwards. So, I want to let you know this is in. Both of these first aid kits. So if you need it,
Yeah.
I'm not a physician. No, I don't do one on TV, but yeah. So is that right? They put the skin together and say,
We do, yes. It's very visible on the fence of the you see go. Yeah, I mean, it's super official, and yeah, we do want to push it together, put it on like that. And then, as your skin grows, But again, you want to rent it out.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that part. Any kind of battery, you can get in the shop.
Yeah.
Ideally, just start out completely.
I think that's one question. So I've been told that the regular super glue has axes, stuff they, there's arsenic in it or something where you can't use normal super glue, or it's just making it because it's not manufactured in a sterile environment. That might be the outside of it good. I like to use the vertical or a lot has fun, but I think it's probably not the sterile side. But I also think that stuff stays on the skin. Oh, I see.
What I found in personal experience is that this stuff is flexible. When it cures, it's flexible as opposed to the regular Star Bond or whatever, you know, where it will get kind of crusty and stiff and, you know, anyway, kind of chips off. Yeah, Phil.
Can you use it to fill a crack, turn
I've not tried that. All that much in your end. Yes.
Right.
Anything else we need to know? Yeah. What about bleeding? Well, you try to clean it up and everything, you get it stop bleeding and then try to. Now, if you got an aorta, you know what?
You got a big bleeder.
You're squirting halfway across the room. Okay, very.
I'll just sit every day.
This, I guess you can kind of do yourself as opposed to trying to throw a suture in. It's like if it's in your hand or something, you know. It's made you're good at the problem.
I'm not aware of one normal super glue, but the rolling cuts that like keep getting like alcohol in or stuff. All the things like throw some super glue on something like that. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's not really like it's not because he stitches, it's more just the I think the stuff getting in. Yeah. I mean, I don't think
We're going to draw for our $2 gift certificate from Craft Supplies, and we'll ask our newest member, Fred, pull it over out there. Hopefully whoever has this number, just the last 3 digits. 811. Anybody got 812? Right, we'll go to the next. Oh, 811, I'm sorry. We're gonna draw again here. Somebody's got to win, or I'm gonna give my one. 785. Somebody got that one? Bill's got that. All right, Bill. Bill will be spending on some finishing material for your pepper meal. And the bonus is you get past plus sticker too. Oh, yeah. There's that and your 2 gift certificates.
Put that on your windshield.
All right, I think that kind of brings us to our conclusion for tonight's meeting, but I really appreciate you guys getting out in the weather and getting down here. I'm looking forward to an exciting 2025. I really want to push to kind of build our membership if we can, because that'll keep us really solvent. It's a good financial state. As we close, if you can help put some chairs away, we got a little bit of equipment that we got to get in place, but again, thank you all, and look forward to seeing you next month. And you can go to shop anytime you can. And ask for help anytime.
That was fun. That was good.